what's going on with inflation?
Well, as you know, as hopefully listening audience know, we had a lot of numbers that came out negatively affected the market. 8.6% inflation. What do you think about that, Sam?
Dude, the I know. Well, I saw my account this very early morning, and wow, I charged it up. I saw inflation worries and incoming recession. But I didn't buy anything. I don't know, but I paid my margin call.
We're long then, huh? Long the market. Well,
That's
I
right.
mean, inflation obviously sucks for a whole slew of reasons, right? But how do you feel about your grocery items and gas over there on the island? How has things been over there with inflation? Have you noticed anything?
Dude, yeah, obviously that. I mean, yeah, everything got more expensive. I mean, I don't know. I I'm back and forth about the gas thing. Yeah, it was cheaper last year and the year before, but gosh, I remember when you and me were working at ITS and as college jobs. They had that. What was it? This Iraq
Yeah.
operation. Wasn't
Hmm.
Operation Desert Storm. It was Operation. What was it again, Matt?
I don't remember what it was, but I remember you're right. The gas prices were high in,
Broke $5.
yeah, at least $5.
And if they told me that I wouldn't have to pay gas $5 a gallon for gas again until the year 2022, I would be very thankful. So I look at it, I'm like, wow, it's taking this long. I thought we were gonna be here a long time ago, this whole time, right?
That's true. That's true. We have seen it before. Yeah, it says that in 2000, I guess this is 2006, 2008, the gas base price was at $3.50. So that's pretty high considering that in 2011 the gas prices were down to like 2.90. So I guess this is before tax, I guess. I'm not sure why it's not higher, but I I remember having to pay a whole bunch for gas and thinking, wow, it must be much cheaper on the mainland. I think right now what happens is Hawaii's gas prices are probably less flexible, if that's the right word, than the gas
Hmm.
prices out in like California, New York, where they're seeing almost, I don't know, like $9 gallon or something. So yeah, it's
Really?
yeah, California is there's
What?
screenshots of people paying like $9 a gallon in
Wait,
California.
wait, wait, wait. People are paying $9 a gallon for gas.
Hmm.
I feel shocked.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
do.
it's
But
it's not good. That's for sure. It's
is that
let's
where I'm going to? I mean, what about in Texas? You guys are paying $5 a gallon, right?
no, we're at 450.
Yeah, and that's the cheapest in the country or something,
Yeah,
right? I
we
mean,
probably have the cheapest gas in the country. Yeah.
okay, okay, yeah. So that makes me feel so good. It's only 80 cents more than my local gas station, right? That's great.
And I mean, that has
For
lots to do
Hawaii.
with hedging and everything, but I mean
Hmm.
that Hawaii does a good job at making sure that they don't have to pay too much more for a lot of their necessities.
Fantastic. Wow, that's interesting. But back to the main topic here. We're talking about inflation. Matt, you are the man when it comes to this stuff, dude. What is it all the same? Or are we just like you were telling me before? There's certain things are
Right.
inflating more or less.
So, I mean, everyone can read the CPI report. The numbers are out there for the general public to consume, but I
Hmm.
pulled out some numbers that I think affect people more than the full like 8.6 because that number isn't like a weird average of everything.
Okay,
Groceries. What do you think grocery prices have gone up over the past year? If you had to take a guess.
Matt. Honestly, I'm having a hard time. I know we've talked ad nauseum about my weight loss and
Right.
nutrition, and I just haven't been eating like I used to eat, and I can't weigh in on that issue because I have no input. My
Well,
my what I buy for eating this year is just so much different than before.
and
What do you think? Have
I think
prices
people,
gone really gone up? Have you seen that?
yeah, I actually have
Mhm.
seen, so when I first got to Texas in August of 2021,
Yeah.
groceries were really inexpensive to me. And
Mhm.
now they have definitely gone up. Like I could see price of bread, price of eggs, price of milk, the price of meat, especially have gone up 20, almost 30%. The overall cost of groceries has gone up 12% according to this report, well, 11.9% if you want to be exact. And I think actually that
Awesome.
number two is a little bit too low because eggs have gone up 30%. I don't know. Do you, in your diet, do you eat a lot of eggs in your newfound
Not a lot.
lifestyle?
Mm, you know,
So what do
sounds
you
like
mostly eat?
cholesterol's a oh I variety, really. I really do eat a variety. I wouldn't say a lot of eggs because I don't eat more than one or two eggs a day, right? Not one
Mhm.
of those crazy. No, they're not crazy. I don't know. I'm not gonna put people
No,
down for eating a pack of eggs, but yeah, it's not me.
yeah. So
But yeah, so eggs have gotten more expensive and
what
30%.
is what
Why?
is
So okay.
in your diet? Well, what is your go-to items? If you were to eat something, what's the go-to item?
I don't know. I mean, I take my vitamins and I drink coffee and cream
Mhm.
then I take proteins and then I eat meals with food and I don't know what the go-to thing is, Protein, I mean, I guess I'll reach for like some nuts or a protein bar or something. I mean, it's interesting when I look at the analysis because I track it all. Some of
Mhm.
those things sometimes I get my highest, most calories for the week from chocolate and stuff like that. But that's I think it speaks to how much of a variety of foods that I'm eating, that the only thing that I'm regularly eating is like a few pieces of chocolate at night or whatever, right? So that'll be like the number one. So I go to would probably be chocolate.
Mhm.
So I
I don't know
lost
what the
50
chocolate.
pounds on chocolate. Yeah.
I don't know what the chocolate index went
How
up, but I
Yeah,
do
but
I
the
do
eggs.
know.
Okay, so talk to me. Okay. Let me use my imagination on why eggs are getting more expensive because eggs require chickens, which need a lot of fuel associated with it, the feed, and then transporting all the birds around as they, succumb to the livestock industry and death, right? So is that having to do with it? Like, why are eggs so? Oh no, the eggs are not the death of the chicken. These are the sterile things. But anyway,
Well, I,
beside the point.
well,
Why is eggs getting why
so
everybody's like, oh, we
so
need eggs.
th-
Oh, because we're poor. Now we're gonna eat eggs, not something more expensive.
normally, right? You think, right, like bread and eggs, right? That's like your penny pinching meal is to get
Yeah,
eggs because they're
famine
cheap
food.
protein. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Well, unfortunately, what do chickens eat?
chickens eat
Not the normal ones who just run around
centipedes.
outside,
I'm thinking, I don't know.
but the
I don't
ones that
know.
eat
I only think about
actual
feral
the
chickens.
domesticated chickens, not the ones you see running around in the North
Dude,
Shore.
okay. So I'm not just interviewing here, Matt. I also am here to provide comical relief. And um, you know, I'm so amazed by chickens.
Hey, I would be too.
Chickens. They can take a centipede. It just
Whoa.
reminds me when I was a kid, I was lying in bed and a huge centipede had crawled on me in my sleep, and I woke up and like standing outside of my bed, and like what just touched me, and then pulling off the sheet, and it's huge, dude. I seen chickens. They just grab the centipede one time. You've seen it out
Yeah.
Wahiwa, I guarantee. They just grab the centipede one time, like raw, and just, and just eat the whole centipede. Just goes down, and it's like you are the coolest bird I have seen in my life. And yeah, they make eggs. Eggs are great.
They are.
But talk
And
talk to me here. Talk to me. Sorry, go ahead.
so what is a really what do chickens eat in the farm? Well, they eat grains. Where does all of our grains come from? Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Yeah.
What? I thought we were the bread basket. Why are we feeding the
No.
chickens with Ukrainian grain?
Yeah. So a lot of well, it's not just from
Um,
Ukraine, but
I'm buying it. I'm buying it, Matt. Come on. How long is the war in Ukraine going to be affecting? Oh, this could go on forever. Could.
yeah. So, oh, froze there a little bit.
What this is all about, the Ukraine? Oh, I forgot. I can't go outside. Is this all about the war in Ukraine still, or what? That's what
Partially.
this whole inflation thing boils down to, the war in Ukraine.
So
Partially.
Well, let's take a small moment to figure out why we have inflation. Right? There's two reasons why we have inflation. Economy
Yeah.
101.
Why do we have inflation?
So the
Two.
first reason, we have a supply shortage. So if there's a supply shortage, supply is low, demand is high because supply is low. Then we have inflation because the supply prices have to go up to meet with the demand because, right, if we have only 2 items, but people want to buy 3 of them, well, then the people on the supply side can say, hey, we're going to charge you a little bit more and filter out the 2 buyers who can afford to pay more for the supply. The second reason we have inflation is demand side inflation, which is where the Fed comes in. That's why they're raising the interest rate. So the demand inflation is, hey, I have $100 and there's $100 worth of stuff and I'm going to buy it all. And you know what? Next month, I'm going to buy all of it too because I have the money. The Fed can say, you know what? We're going to ruin your buying power so that you stop buying everything and the suppliers can stop raising their prices. And now we can have some form of equilibrium where we're not just chasing each other. So Ukrainian war, that would be a supply side inflationary pressure. Having low interest rates, that's a demand side buying pressure. So we have both. That's why they're trying to cool off inflation. But for the purposes of this chicken we're talking about, chicken are eating more expensive grains because the overall supply of grains, not all of it comes from Ukraine and Russia and all these other foreign countries, but because we have, because
world
overall,
market.
And they're not the only ones eating wheat, right? You eat bread. No, maybe you don't eat bread. I don't eat bread. Do you eat bread?
Keto bread. I eat keto bread.
Huh?
No, I eat bread sometimes. I've been having some carby days and everything. I don't want to detract too much from our podcast going on and on about my diet, but yeah, you know, people eat bread. I understand that. I eat holy bread.
Yeah. People eat pita bread. And right, they you guys have your communion bread. I will say that's
bread. Oh, the
unleavened bread.
Priest told me a very funny joke one time. Father Ed, he when I was first converting, he told me this joke I'll never forget. He said, you know, because there's this whole thought about this belief, right, that the holy bread turns from being just a piece of bread to the actual flesh of Christ, right? It's a belief. And so they teach this to the children too, right? Because most, you know, Catholic families will have their kids learn about this faith and this belief. They said the hardest part of it is just trying to convince those kids that that little thing is actually bread.
What? Not actually, like the kids actually believe that it's
because you're supposed to believe that it. I mean, we do believe that the
right.
Well, not all Christians, right? Some Christians just say, well, this is bread and the symbol of this, and others say this is the actual transubstantiated form of God, right? And but so the joke is, of course, well, look at that little thing. How can you call that bread in the first place, right? You know, so that's the joke.
No, but most people, I'd say that the first time that I saw the bread, I mean, I was imagining, right? If you can imagine the story, right? He splits the bread. I'm thinking it's this big piece of like sourdough, that's like when you pull it apart, it's just steaming and mac. But actually, it's like a pita shell or pita bread, right? And it's just kind of snap, and that's the bread that everyone eats. Well, not everyone, but those who participate in communion, that's the type of bread they eat, like pita bread. I remember passing out
Wow, you guys had
for
pita
communion.
bread? That's nice. That's
Yeah,
lovely.
yeah. I don't
Right
know.
on.
Do you guys have like crackers? It's like a crackery
They're
type bread.
I think they're official wafers that are,
Oh,
I mean, we we refer to it as bread. But yeah, it's
well,
kind of, it
yeah.
looks it's almost like a water cracker or something, right? But even finer in its sort of makeup, whatever that grain, that thing that is composed of. Yeah, it's just,
That's
but
still
it
grains
doesn't,
though.
it does taste, it sort of tastes like white bread or something, when your saliva kind of mixes with it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, anyway.
gotta get it some moisturizing.
Yeah, yeah,
Is
yeah. Well, I mean, I think of it very reverently, of course, but the
right.
I think that's why a little joke about it, I think, is kind of something about that is cute.
Well,
But
I would think so.
yeah,
I like I think that like for you have to add humor in. You have to add a little bit
right,
of
right,
right. I mean,
right.
you can't just be
So you got any
so
good inflation
serious.
jokes? You got any good inflation jokes, Matt?
I don't actually. I
We're gonna make one up right now. No, I
yeah.
mean, is there, okay? So what? So where, in my life, I've had I've had to look at the bad things. I mean, inflation. This is bad. There's some very. I mean, what are some of the really negative things? I mean, cheapers. People can't afford food. People can't afford to drive to work. I mean, this is like bad things. They're not buying books anymore. What are you saying? They're not paying for. People aren't paying as much for school anymore. People
So
aren't. What was the other thing?
they're not they're not going to sporting events.
So this is bad. Sporting
So
events, right?
yeah.
So where's the
So
good in that? Where's the good in that though? Because for me, in general, I'm trying to, in my personal life, look at things that really seem horrible and try to see how there's some blessing in disguise somewhere. The most common idiom in the English language is blessing in disguise, right?
mhm.
Where is it in this situation with inflation? Like, how is inflation? I mean, for me, I think it's fantastic. Like, because I got more invested in my house than I do in my portfolio, and so the market, the stock market, and then my stock market holdings can get smashed on inflation all day while the value of my home keeps going up.
Right.
I'm
Right.
still net positive all in all.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I guess to answer the question of where's the blessing in disguise,
Yeah. Where's the
the
silver lining?
the inflationary report kind of shows us that people are actually buying what is necessary and not buying what is unnecessary. So the numbers have showed
Excellent.
us that the price of food, right, energy, electricity, things that we need, the basics of life, those things have gone up substantially, more than 8%.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
While things like sporting events, I'm going to take a look at the notes I have here. Sporting events, TVs, jewelry,
Mm-hmm,
video
mm-hmm.
equipment, all those things have gone down. They're actually getting
Yeah.
cheaper than they were last year in May. So people, as a consensus of all the people who participated in the CPI report, they have reported that they're spending more money on things that they need and less money on things that are for entertainment purposes, right? So the silver lining, blessing in disguise, is that it's teaching people really what is necessary versus what is a want or unnecessary. And I mean, if you look at things that way, I feel like it is a blessing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you mentioned you cutting out things in your life, right? Your whole transformation, your journey from being a little
Yep.
bit heavy to being what you consider your ideal weight. So
Trim.
trim.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to digress again too much there, but yeah. So what you're saying, to reiterate, get me where I'm wrong here. What you're saying is that the silver lining or blessing in disguise in inflation is that we can see that people are making wise decisions and starting to really distinguish between, and I'm stealing this from some, I'm gonna digress, okay? Wants and needs. Wants and needs. And you know who taught me about wants and needs?
No.
That phrase. I mean, I must have heard it in passing, but you know who stuck me with it? Was a homeless person
Oh, wow.
who had been selected by Family Promise, which is that group of uh, religious and other charitable organizations which collaborate in providing food and housing to a homeless family, just a few at a time, and then trains them how to get jobs, how to manage their finances. And the promise is that at the end of the program, they'll provide them with, opportunities for jobs and for opportunities for a place to rent.
It's very nice.
And so they said, oh, we need volunteers, whatever. Can you go down and bring some food? And back then it was cool. Nowadays, I don't know, you just drop off the food and knock the door and walk away, I guess. But used to be you sit down and eat dinner with them, yeah. Like family, with their family. And so I remember sitting down, I was talking to the mom, and she was younger than me, and she had 3 or 4 kids or whatever, and just off the street, but she's very lucid, nothing really wrong with this woman. And yeah, she was like, yeah. So I was kind of asking, like, well, how's this program or whatever, like trying to get her to talk. That's what she said. She said, you know what they're teaching me? I said, what? Wants and needs.
There you go. So now everybody can be blessed with the same knowledge that you have about wants and needs. And
I don't have it. I'm gonna have to get more my stock market account gonna have to crash a little bit more before that, but
well, you made you got some good choices. You got somebody made good choices for you so that you can have this kind of a comfortable lifestyle, not a lavish lifestyle, but a comfortable one where, we're not limited to just, half of an egg every other day versus, you said 1 or 2 eggs a day is your max, right? You're not sharing an egg with somebody. Yeah.
Dude, there's so much poverty in this world.
Yeah.
It's really hard. I see so much homeless, right? In America.
Oh yeah.
Hawaii. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
Waikiki, right?
Yeah. I went when I went to visit Hawaii, all I could think about was there are more people on the streets now than when I left. I remember.
How do you think? Yeah, it's absolutely. Oh, let's talk about that. Yeah, you're right. They're coming in every day.
Yeah, I
and not
I don't know
just
if they're
that.
coming in.
More of them are getting homeless. A local guy. I was down in Waikiki and had on homeless guy in a tent. It's kind of it's right in my. I was in my area. I was working on cleaning up a little space, and I saw him in there, so I was like, "Oh, how's it going?" I was talking to him for a sec. Poor guy, right in a tent. Must feel so alone in the middle of a city. You ever feel like that, where you feel alone and there's people all around you everywhere?
Yeah.
And nobody's talking to you.
It's our American problem.
So he was local. So I'm saying. So I'm not saying, oh, all the homeless people are from the mainland and the continent, right? You can't even say mainland anymore.
But
it's so unfortunate. I mean,
So inflation is probably gonna hurt them the most, yeah. For me, like I said, it sounds like Christmas. It sounds like Christmas to me.
So
Oh, stocks got cheaper, TVs got cheaper.
yeah,
Like,
I know, like
you know what I mean?
so inflation helps people who have assets. So even if the stock market
Yeah,
is going down, most of the people who own stocks don't just own stocks, you know, and people who have income, have money saved up, they can use their money now. Like for me, I bought another monitor just this past weekend because it was, get this, it was cheaper than the monitor I had bought last year. The same monitor went down in price, which rarely ever happens. And in an inflationary environment, you would think that it would go up, but no, it's cheaper than last year.
we should. I think we should all just get to spring cleaning. Everybody will all have yard sales and just starve them out. Yeah, we'll get those TV prices down real low. We'll do yard sales until we're, back on our feet. Yeah, and then the stuff is gonna be real cheap.
And then you go to Walmart and they're practically giving it away.
Yeah,
yeah. So
buy one get one free.
So for I mean, inflation sucks, and the rent rate I believe went up about 5% as of from that report. So it's less than the overall CPI, but still 5% is a lot of money for people who did not get a 5% raise.
Really?
Right?
Really? Yeah, you're right.
So one thing that people really, I guess, I mean, they talk about it on financial news. So if you watch financial news, you probably know this already, but the wage growth is not keeping up with inflation either. So for people who didn't get an 8.6% raise from last year, you're actually losing income. So again, inflation is hurting a whole ton of people. But really, I mean, if you think about the people that it hurts,
if you have a job,
right? If you have a job. So the people that actually
if you sell something, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say if
the people it hurts the most. Sorry, we're just about at time.
Yeah.
So
we
but no, tell us what the people that it hurts the most are.
There are two types of people it hurts the most. It hurts the most people who are growing their family, growing their lives. So people who just graduated college, to people who are maybe 45 to 50, they're still growing their wealth. So we're in that age group too, but we have a financial background. We have made decisions to better our financial health, but not everybody has. But the second group of people is the people I feel for the most, and that's the people who are already retired. So Social Security only 5.9% was their cost of living adjustment. If you think of a senior, what do they mostly do? They mostly eat at home or eat out, and they have gas. They're at home all the time, which means their electricity is usually higher. They don't have a job, so they don't have to go to work, but they have to go to doctor offices, visit family, buy groceries. So their rate of inflation is higher than most people because they primarily spend most of their budget on those higher inflated numbers, and they have no income. They have no way to go back to work usually. And I'm not taking a swing at any financial advisor, but if they have a lot of money invested in the stock market still yet, they're hurting there too, right? So if their planner didn't put a lot of their money in fixed things, I mean, yesterday the market dropped 20%, right, from its highs. So for someone who has a $1 million retirement account, if they're fully invested in the S&P 500, they're down.
They lost 200 grand.
Crispy $200,000. So I think they're the ones that are getting hit the most. And most times during recessions, we don't see, this kind of price expansion, right? We had the stock market go from I don't know, was it at 3,000 up to 4,000? So a lot of people retired. Why not? But now we're back down to, we didn't drop too low, but we're at 3,700. So we're at 4,160 Now we're at 37.2. We might be even lower. I don't know. The market closed, but I don't have my screen up. So it could be even lower.
No,
That's a whole lot of
yeah.
money that they had lost, right? They could have lost that entire thing that they thought, oh, here it is. I can retire. And now it's all gone. So inflation is hurting them a lot when you're on the older end of the spectrum, and then also when you're in the beginning end of the spectrum, unless you are one of the 1%ers. Because, right, if you're, let's say you're, I don't want to throw out any names. Let's say you're a really well-to-do person. You have $5 million in real estate, $5 million in your portfolio. You have a pension that pays you 100 grand a year. You don't care. This is all that doesn't matter, right? For you, your stock market
That puts you in the
portfolio got
1%.
hit.
That's what is that the threshold for 1%?
Typically, yeah, you have 5 million or you have 10 million in invested assets.
Cool. Okay. Just another minute, Matt. I gotta run to something else after this, but please go ahead.
No, I wanted you to kind
Finish
of
that thought.
give your thoughts on the two major classes that are affected from inflation.
So we said it was the people nearing retirement or in retirement, actually. And then what was the other one? The 4?
The people who are in their kind of graduated from college, going into the workforce, and then mature, not yet totally matured in their career, but potentially still have kids in college, in that 40 age range, because those people didn't have enough time yet to buy enough assets. So when you're in your 50s and 60s, you supposedly buy the most assets.
I think my response of it is, maybe my first thought is, and since we're kind of concluding here, I think, we never know when that day is going to come, right? And truly with this boom and bust market, but we know that the day, it's like death, taxes, and, there will be recessions, right? And taxes is the only one you can count on being on schedule, right? And the rest of them are, unpredictable. They're predictable, but not perfectly. And so, however, I think the most, biggest thing from the 20th century was the Depression. And there were some pretty hardcore, very strong generation that came out of that Depression, who had even when they had their 10 mil or whatever to be whatever like that, or whatever they did, and including the war, right? They seemed to have a very strong sense of wants and needs. And if that's what our society needs, maybe that's more of what I need. Then, hopefully I don't have to be too much inflation, and I don't have to get too much, suffering from inflation or for the elderly, and the people that just got out of college, welcome to the real world, right? It's a bad time in the economy or whatever. Wake up, kids, right? And for the elderly, I think we should just, if there's anything more that society could do to help, they should consider it.
I think we'll close with the blessing in disguise, is if maybe in, let's say, 70 years, the people who are born into this era are strong savers, like the people who are in their 70s and 80s now are typically strong savers, right? They have a little bit more resiliency. They're getting every single gram of toothpaste out of the toothpaste tube. They're brushing teeth with the same toothbrush for the full 3 months that it says to do it on the back of the toothbrush.
I've never thrown away a toothbrush after only 3 months. And my grandfather taught me what you do when you get to the end of the bar of soap, is you put it aside. And then when you get to the end of the bar of the next soap, you put that little sliver aside. And then when you have enough of those little slivers, then you compress it, and then you've got another bar of soap, right?
Hey, so that
during the Depression, he worked in a soap factory as a 14-year-old or whatever, right?
Right. So that generation has taught us how to conserve, how to save, how to live within and below our means. Maybe that's what this new normal with runaway inflation will teach us, and at least that's what the numbers are kind of showing, right? So it'd be good. That's the blessing in disguise. That's the silver lining. We're going to create a much more efficient, waste less mentality for us.
Yeah,
like
and people aren't wasting people are sick of wasting their money on this crazy inflated student loan driven education system.
I agree.
And we're all getting ready for that real life lesson stuff ahead, huh? Oh, well,
Get ready.
I wish you luck. Wishing you luck, Matt. I wish everybody luck.
I do too, and then I think right. Stay safe. Stay safe, everyone, and don't waste your money on ridiculous stuff. Spend on what matters, and especially like Sam knows, spend on your health. That's what matters most. Your health and your family.
Yeah, sometimes not spending is better for your health. Anyway, agree. I'll catch you later, Matt. Thanks again. I really appreciate all your insight, and you leave me with a lot of food for thought. And I know I'm not the only one.
All right, Sam. You guys have a good day, and tell your family and your dad said hello.
Oh, same to you and yours.
All right,
Mom. Okay, bye.